DEBANHI Susana Escobar Bazaldua, a young woman with dreams of becoming a lawyer, lived in Mexico with her adoptive parents, Mario Escobar and Dolores Bazaldua. She was just 18 years old when tragedy struck her. This incident wasn't just about her. It shed light on a much larger issue plaguing Mexico: the increasing number of women disappearing, with most of them being young girls like DEBANHI. In the year 2022, the statistics painted a grim picture. Over 1,700 women have gone missing in the past 50 years, with a staggering 90% of these cases occurring after 2010. In Nuevo León alone, 52 women fell victim to this crime in that year. These numbers were shocking, highlighting a crisis that demanded urgent attention. DEBANHI's story gained widespread attention when news of her disappearance broke. A haunting image circulated on social media: a young woman standing alone on a deserted road at night, wearing a skirt and sports shoes. This image struck a chord with people across Latin America, evoking feelings of vulnerability and fear. As days passed without any sign of DEBANHI, the fear of the worst outcome grew stronger. The circumstances surrounding DEBANHI's disappearance raised countless questions. Why was she alone on that road? Was she kidnapped? The mystery surrounding her case only added to the anguish felt by her loved ones. But amidst the uncertainty, one thing was clear: the authorities had a duty to find answers and bring justice to DEBANHI and her family. During the time of DEBANHI's disappearance, Samuel Garcia was the governor of Nuevo León, with Andrés Mijes Lovera serving as the mayor of Ciudad Escobedo. Aldo Fashi Zuazua held the position of state security secretary, and Gustavo Adolfo Guerrero Gutierrez was the state attorney general. These officials held significant responsibility for ensuring the safety and security of the people they served. DEBANHI's case became a rallying cry for justice. Her family refused to give up hope, determined to uncover the truth no matter the risks involved. Their relentless pursuit of justice echoed the sentiments of many families across Mexico who had lost loved ones to similar circumstances. Timeline of events. So, who was DEBANHI Escobar? 18-year-old DEBANHI Susana Escobar, a student at the University of Nuevo León studying law, had a strong passion for helping others. She recently participated in a feminist march in Mexico to raise awareness about gender violence, showcasing her dedication to creating positive change. Her father, Mario Escobar, fondly recalled her active involvement in the march, emphasizing her unwavering commitment to making a difference in society. However, on April 9, 2022, DEBANHI disappeared, leaving her family desperate for answers. Described as petite, with fair skin, weighing around 105 pounds and standing at 5 feet 5 inches tall, she became the subject of an intense search and rescue effort. The search gained international attention when a chilling photograph circulated online, depicting DEBANHI stranded on the side of a highway. Tragically, nearly 2 weeks passed before her remains were discovered. The extent of decomposition was severe, with only a crucifix around her neck serving as a means of identification. Her family expressed profound outrage over what they perceived as a failure by the authorities to provide justice for DEBANHI. The events leading up to DEBANHI's disappearance unfolded on the night of April 8th. She attended a house party in the Nueva Castilla neighborhood of Monterrey, accompanied by friends Yvonne, Alejandra, and Jessari. An argument started between DEBANHI and one of her friends, prompting her friends to leave without her. Nevertheless, they arranged for a trusted person known as Jesus to provide DEBANHI with transportation home. The circumstances surrounding the argument remained unclear. At some point during the night or early morning hours of April 9th, DEBANHI left the party with taxi driver Jesus. We're not quite sure what exactly happened during the argument. All we know is that DEBANHI, after leaving the party, ended up alone on a long road between Monterrey and Nuevo Laredo. There's a video that shows part of what happened. It starts with DEBANHI getting into a car with the driver, Jesus Cuellar. DEBANHI's dad, Mario Escobar, thinks Cuellar did something wrong to her. Mario says Cuellar, 47 years old, tried to assault DEBANHI, which is why DEBANHI left the car later and was seen alone on the road. But Cuellar tells a different story. He says Debani chose to leave the car by her own choice. Queller took a picture of her standing alone on the road, wearing a skirt and comfy Converse shoes. Now people are wondering what really happened. Was it just a misunderstanding, as Queller says? Or was it something worse, like Mario Escobar thinks? The story keeps getting more mysterious, but we still don't know the truth. Debani's leaving the car is a pivotal moment, captured by Queller, a lone woman standing in the middle of the road with nothing and no one around. This got a lot of attention. The image captured in Queller's photograph sparked a lot of questions and speculation among the community. Was Debani truly alone by choice, as Queller claimed? Or was there something more sinister at play, as Mario Escobar feared? However, critical details regarding the timing of the photograph's capture and sending remained unclear. Subsequently, surveillance cameras at a nearby hotel captured Debani exiting a taxi. She was then seen entering the trucking company's premises, Alcosa Transportes Internacionales, where she allegedly asked for help but was denied. At 4:29 a.m., security camera footage from the office shows Escobar crossing the road and heading towards a security booth. Initially, authorities said she went into the building, but later, they said there were no more records of her being at the company after that. 5 minutes later, at 4:35 a.m., on the same sidewalk, a camera from the Nueva Castilla motel captures Debani running as she enters the premises of a motel. The motel has a complex of several buildings, with a closed restaurant on the right side of the entrance. This restaurant opens onto a garden area with a swimming pool, where the cistern is located nearby. Surprisingly, the recording shows the young woman running alone through the entrance. Was she fleeing from something or someone? Was she trying to hide? The authorities didn't answer these questions. It's unclear whether she visited the motel reception afterward, as authorities haven't provided any explanation. Then, at 4:56 a.m., the same camera captures the 18-year-old in the pool area. However, there's a barrier separating the restaurant and the pool area, where the water tank is situated. How she moved from one section to the other without passing through the motel remains a mystery, as authorities haven't clarified this aspect either. Furthermore, it's uncertain what her purpose was in the abandoned restaurant, or if she had been elsewhere in the motel that could offer clues about her death. At first, the prosecutor's office said the motel didn't keep records of its security camera footage. But after a few weeks, 3 videos from the motel suddenly appeared. It's also odd that only the cameras at the abandoned restaurant recorded footage of Escobar. There's no sign of her in the videos from the motel's reception area or any other part of the facility. Griselda Nunez, the head of the femicide prosecutor's office, after a while told the Mexican newspaper Milenio that they had located new cameras that could have a record of Escobar. Despite her father's efforts to report her disappearance to the Nuevo León State Attorney General's office and share missing person reports on social media, not much was done to get her back home alive and safe. Alcosa Transportes Internacionales, situated close to where Debani was last seen alive, cooperated with authorities by providing surveillance footage and employee lists for investigative purposes. However, they maintained that their involvement in the case was limited to their physical proximity to the incident. Investigation and discovery. After Debani went missing, a special team from the Nuevo León State Attorney General's office started looking for her. This happened because her disappearance got a lot of attention from the media. Their investigation led them to link 5 other young people who were also missing to Debani's case. On Tuesday, April 12th, they arrested the 47-year-old taxi driver named Jesus, whose real name is Juan David Queller. He was taken into custody on drug-related charges, even though he was working for a service similar to Uber or Didi when he got the call to pick up Debani from the party. The police asked him questions about Debani, but they didn't charge him with anything related to her disappearance or death. Later, he was let go. The news said that in the past, he had been looked into for bothering and trying to take women against their will. Despite the efforts of the authorities, they couldn't find any signs of Debani during the 13 days they searched for her. Then, on the evening of Thursday, April 22nd, her body was discovered in an underground water tank at the Motel Nueva Castilla, just a short distance from where she was last seen. Even though the property had been searched several times before, they only found her after workers noticed a bad smell coming from the water tank. Her body had been underwater for almost 2 weeks, making it hard to recognize. They could only identify her by her necklace and clothes, while they were still waiting for DNA confirmation. Authorities said the hotel's security cameras didn't record anything useful because they were only for keeping an eye on things, not recording. The prosecutor for Nuevo León, Gustavo Adolfo Guerrero, mentioned that DEBANHI's likely cause of death was a severe injury to her head. Her father added that she had also been beaten and choked. However, the Attorney General's office suggested a different idea, saying that DEBANHI might have accidentally fallen into the deep water tank near the motel's pool and drowned. The story her parents were told didn't make sense. The officials said DEBANHI fell into a big hole called a cistern, but when they looked closer, it just didn't add up. The cistern was really deep, like 6 meters, with walls 2 meters high and then 4 more meters down. If she fell from that height, she'd have been really hurt, maybe even dead. Plus, there was a fence around the cistern with sharp wire on top. If she fell, she should have had cuts on her, but she didn't. They also talked about how when people fall into the water, they usually breathe in some water. But when they checked DEBANHI's body, there was no water in her lungs. It was like she didn't breathe in any water at all, meaning she was dead before she fell in the tank. That didn't make sense either. DEBANHI's family was really upset. They didn't believe what they were told about her disappearance. Her dad, especially, thought something fishy was going on. He accused the taxi driver, Juan David Cuellar, of putting DEBANHI in danger. To him, it seemed like a plan to make her disappear. So they decided to go back to where DEBANHI was last seen, a motel. Something strange was discovered. Even though they claimed the cameras were only for watching, there were new recordings. But these recordings didn't reveal anything useful. Nobody was with DEBANHI, following her, or even watching her. An important puzzle remains unsolved regarding the motel's role in the DEBANHI Escobar case. First, there's confusion about the camera records. Was it the Nueva Castilla motel that was deceptive, or was it the prosecutor's office? Next, it's unclear if there were other cameras recording, or if the records could have been altered or erased between DEBANHI's disappearance and the discovery of her body. In today's world, everyone takes numerous pictures and shares them online. Yet, nobody at the party DEBANHI was supposed to attend had any pictures with her. Even after 2 days, there were no photographs of her at the party. It was as if she had never been there. DEBANHI's dad, Mario Escobar, had a weird experience with the police too. When they told him they found DEBANHI's body, they took him to the motel right away. They didn't wait for his permission or let him see her before they did tests. Mario wanted to be there when they checked her, but they said no. When Mario finally saw DEBANHI, he noticed bruises on her face. It made him think something bad happened to her. He couldn't believe the story they told about her falling accidentally. Mario wasn't the only one who thought something was wrong. Many people in the community felt the same. The whole thing just didn't make sense. It was like pieces were missing from the story. It was a sad and confusing time for DEBANHI's family and friends. They couldn't understand why this happened or what really happened to her. The truth seemed like it was hidden somewhere, and they didn't know if they would ever find it. Mario was also furious with his daughter's friends. They were with her on the night she disappeared but didn't attend her wake or funeral, nor did they reach out to the family. When questioned, they insisted on speaking only to a prosecutor. Later, they gave a surprising interview to a TV channel, claiming that DEBANHI had behaved badly and aggressively at a party they attended. They suggested that something might have been put in her drink, leading to her erratic behavior and eventual disappearance. According to their account, DEBANHI had a confrontation with a group of boys who allegedly wanted to take advantage of her. She even claimed that her parents were lawyers and could pay them off if they left her alone. Eventually, she left with a driver, ignoring calls from her friends. The friends, unable to reach her, finally contacted her father hours later. They had withheld his number from the driver, raising suspicion. The grief-stricken family was angry and upset, mourning the loss of their daughter and feeling betrayed by those they thought would help them. Forensic analysis and contradictions. On June 30th, Mexican officials made a significant announcement regarding the case of DEBANHI Susana Escobar. Ricardo Mejia, Mexico's Deputy Secretary of Security, revealed during a press conference that they plan to examine DEBANHI's body for another autopsy. This decision came as a pivotal development in the ongoing investigation surrounding her death. Mejia explained that a team of medical experts would lead the new examination. Their primary objective would be to compare the findings of this upcoming autopsy with the results of two previous examinations conducted shortly after DEBANHI's tragic demise and prior to her burial. The first official autopsy, conducted by authorities in Nuevo León state, had initially concluded that DEBANHI had died from accidentally falling into an abandoned water tank. However, this conclusion was met with skepticism, particularly by DEBANHI's family. In response to their concerns, a second autopsy was conducted independently at the family's request. This second examination presented a different narrative, suggesting that DEBANHI may have suffered from all sorts of abuse before her death. The discrepancies between the two autopsies raised doubts about the accuracy of the initial findings. Mario Escobar, DEBANHI's father, voiced his lack of confidence in the government's version of events. It was his insistence and determination that led to the request for the latest independent examination. Dr. Felipe Takayashi, a prominent figure who leads the forensic service in Mexico City, addressed the public during a press conference attended by various experts. He disclosed significant details regarding the timing and nature of DEBANHI's death. According to Takayashi, DEBANHI had passed away between 3 to 5 days prior to the discovery of her body in a motel's water tank. One notable revelation from the examination was the absence of any signs indicating physical violence on her body. The revelation of DEBANHI's timeline of death and the absence of intimate abuse added layers of complexity to the investigation. It cast further doubt on the initial autopsy's conclusion of accidental death. In light of the discrepancies and growing suspicions surrounding the circumstances of DEBANHI's death, her family, along with federal authorities, pressed for a third autopsy. This time, they insisted on an independent examination to ensure impartiality and accuracy. The decision was made in pursuit of truth and justice for DEBANHI. The results of the third autopsy aligned closely with the suspicions raised by DEBANHI's family and independent experts. It provided compelling evidence supporting the assertion that DEBANHI's death was not accidental, but instead a deliberate act of violence. Mario Escobar, upon learning the outcome of the third autopsy, expressed his profound grief and indignation. He declared the incident as femicide, emphasizing that DEBANHI valued her life and took precautions to protect herself, such as wearing a face mask on the night of her tragic fate. This latest development marked a significant turning point in the investigation, shedding new light on the circumstances surrounding DEBANHI Susana Escobar's ultimate death. Familial and community response. Escobar's case ignited a profound response throughout Mexican society, catalyzing widespread protests that reverberated across the nation from the moment news of her disappearance emerged. Even after Escobar's body was discovered, the outcry persisted, underscoring the enduring impact of her tragic story. As an 18-year-old girl missing for nearly 2 weeks, Escobar swiftly became a poignant emblem of the pervasive violence against women and the alarming prevalence of femicides in her homeland. In the wake of Escobar's disappearance, hundreds of women took to the streets in cities across Mexico, including the capital, brandishing signs emblazoned with impassioned messages such as "No to harassment" and "Mexico is a mass grave." Their voices, united in a chorus demanding justice, echoed the sobering reality of more than 24,000 missing women in a nation where the total count of missing individuals exceeds 100,000. Non-governmental organizations, specializing in human rights and missing persons, stepped forward to shed light on the harrowing realities faced by women in Mexico. Leticia Hidalgo, the founder of Fundanel, offered a stark assessment of the situation. Leticia Hidalgo, the founder of Fundanel, offered a stark assessment of the situation, describing Escobar's case as merely a glimpse into the profound humanitarian crisis unfolding in Nuevo León. Amidst the uncertainty surrounding Escobar's disappearance, a deluge of speculation inundated public discourse, exacerbating the prevailing sense of bewilderment. Countless videos circulated on social media platforms, purportedly offering glimpses of the missing woman or providing insights into her fate. However, each new piece of purported evidence seemed to yield more questions than answers, perpetuating a cycle of frustration and doubt. Recent developments. In April 2022, two female motel employees were ordered to stand trial on charges related to the case of DEBANHI Escobar. The Nuevo Leon Attorney General's Office, FGJE, said that a court had ordered two former workers of the Nueva Castilla motel, where Escobar's body was discovered, to stand trial on allegations of concealment and providing false claims to authorities. Ana Luisa N. and Elida Uriz N. are not allowed to leave the state of Nuevo Leon until they face trial and must sign in with authorities on a regular basis. It said that court officials gave prosecutors 3 months to construct their case against the ladies. Ana Luisa was the motel's manager, while Elida Uriz manned the front desk. They came under scrutiny after first assuring authorities that there was no camera evidence of Escobar on the hotel grounds. Authorities in Nuevo Leon later searched the hotel and the women's residences, seizing mobile phones, USB flash drives, and a laptop with footage. According to the news website Infobay, the tape might shed light on Escobar's alleged femicide. After a Nuevo Leon judge decided on Monday that the two former hotel employees must stand trial, Escobar's father told reporters that he and his wife were happy with the result, but disappointed that justice had not been served sooner. Speaking to media representatives, he said, "What is being done should have been done 8 months ago, but in some ways, it's a breakthrough." Conclusion and broader context. Escobar's case laid bare a litany of shortcomings within the Mexican authorities and the justice system, exposing systemic failures and confirming long-standing suspicions of institutional inadequacy. Despite the passage of time, Escobar's family remains resolute in their pursuit of truth, unwavering in their commitment to unraveling the mysteries surrounding her disappearance and death. However, the grim reality persists, with an estimated 10 women falling victim to murder in Mexico every day, underscoring the urgent need for systemic change and meaningful reform to address the pervasive violence plaguing the nation. In the face of such daunting challenges, Escobar's case stands as a rallying cry for justice and accountability, inspiring renewed determination to confront the root causes of gender-based violence and ensure the safety and dignity of all individuals, particularly women and girls, across Mexico. As the search for truth continues, Escobar's legacy endures as a poignant reminder of the ongoing struggle for justice and the urgent imperative to build a society where such tragedies are no longer tolerated or ignored.